Hi guys, I'm Dan Hoff, Chief Operating Officer of HoneyStick, and today I am serving up a nice platter of oil pens for you. One of the most frequently asked questions that I get personally and the rest of my service staff get is, how do I choose my perfect oil pen? And based on the successes of our other videos about how to pick your perfect concentrate and dab pen, and also how to pick your perfect concealer, what we really worked hard on this week was trying to put together a comprehensive checklist and run through our units to see how you can pick out your perfect oil pen. So what our team did, we put these factors together, and then I did a job of going out into our warehouse and assembling all of the various units that we have as options for oil pens that we felt viable. And we're going to run through them all based on our 8 criteria that I've outlined. So let's jump into my criteria that I outlined. And I'm going to rely on the audience, of course, to drop into the comments if there's a criteria that I forgot. So people who are tuning into the video, following along, watching the comments, can really still see and make the best informed decision. That's what our videos are about, is really presenting our products and just helping you guys to make a better purchasing decision or to just get a little more education awareness. So let's jump into my 8 factors. My first factor when choosing an oil pen, I think, is based on the availability based on your state. Now, oils are not necessarily accessible everywhere, so it might not even be an option for you. But in the event that it is, some states, they're only seem to be available already pre-filled into 510 threaded cartridges, or they could be placed into syringes already preloaded, or they can only be available in tincture bottles. So based on what type of oils you have access to, or what type of texture oils you have access to, could really be a determining factor of when you're trying to select your perfect oil pen. The next factor for you is to keep in mind, and I think it's the second, probably the most pressing factor, is budget. I know there's a lot of vape ballers out there who price is not a thing, but a lot of medical patients and people who are on, let's say, disability or things like that that are using cannabis for medicinal purposes, budget is a very important thing to them. So we can't just go crazy on the price spectrum, and we should definitely keep price as a major factor when choosing a vaporizer as an option. The next factor that I think is the most important is how stealthy the unit is. So stealthiness can play a factor in a few ways. Whether you have it on the go and you want to be discreet, whether you just want it to be small and compact, or whether you are really taking your vaporizer places that you shouldn't and you just don't want to get caught, or you want it to go incognito, which is perfectly cool. But that definitely plays a factor when you are choosing your perfect vape pen. I think the next factor, number 4, is the ease of use, is how easy is the oil pen to use, and really what is your vape level. I have a lot of people who have never turned on a vaporizer before who contact us, and we have people who call in that educate us on our own vaporizers on how the best way is to use them. So there's different places where you can fall in your vape knowledge spectrum, and those will definitely have an impact on your buying decision when you are selecting your perfect oil pen. Is how easy is the vaporizer to use, where's my current vape skill set, or how am I willing to learn? Now, we do try to make educational videos so that, you know, even if you do pick up one of the more expert level vaporizers, you know, you watch our videos, we'll walk you through how to get it up and running and really be able to use it. Next, I think, is battery life. You know, that comes into play when, for me personally, like when I'm buying a phone, because I cannot stay connected to a charger. You know, certain people live certain lifestyles, they take them on to where they can't get to a charger. It takes, they want to be able to have a few days charge on it, or they're going on a hiking expeditions is something we've gotten to where they want to make sure they can go about a week without having a charger. So the battery life really does play into when you're making a decision of how long and how much you can use it in between charges. I think that's an important factor when choosing an oil pen. Next, I think it is mobility. Can you take it around? Or is it just going to be something that kind of stays at home? Because generally you can get more power and performance out of units that are larger, and you can get more, kind of back to our other point of being convenient and easy to use or stealthy out of smaller units. So I think that really the mobility factor does play into it as to how and where you plan to take the vaporizer. Can you drop it in your pocket? Do you need to put it in your backpack? Can you just, throw it on a lanyard or keychain and call it a day? Next, I think it comes down to the next factor. Really, we're going into the nitty-gritty here, is the power. How much power it puts out, how intense it is. I think that makes a big determining factor to people, because some people really thrive to get an intensity and powerful vaporizer that hits hard. And so to some people, that's, believe it or not, that can also be a turnoff to where they want a vaporizer to be very smooth, and not, have any type of traits that to some people could lead off as harsh. And I think, and the last one is flavor. Everybody loves to taste good flavor. When you're spending a lot of money buying concentrates or CBDs or whatever it is that you're buying in the tincture, syringe, or pre-filled cartridge, everybody wants to taste what they're getting. Fact is, they're not cheap, and people want to get a unique and flavorful experience. So where they rank on a flavorful level is also very important when choosing your oil pen. So now that we've gone through all the factors, and again, if I missed something, I really thought hard to try not to, but if we did, make sure to drop them in the comments below so people can see exactly what other factors they should consider. Let's jump right into our different assortment of oil vaporizers and start basically ranking them so you guys have a good knowledge and awareness of where these would rank. First off, we're gonna go with our HoneyStick oil disposable pen. Now I grabbed this had some pre-filled CBD in it, some gold line CBD from our warehouse. This pen ships empty. So in terms of what you have available, if you don't have tinctures or syringes available, this is not a 510 thread cartridge, so you cannot unscrew this cartridge and screw your own cartridge in there. So if in your state you only have pre-filled cartridges, this pen might not be for you. However, if you have tinctures and syringes available in your state, you can definitely use this pen. In terms of budget-wise, this pen is very cost-effective because it is a disposable. It's not rechargeable. I think it's on our website for $15, so it's very convenient. However, on the same budget side, it's not that economical, because once you run through the tanks, you would have to buy a new one. And once you've ran through 2, 3, 4 of these, you could have bought a rechargeable pen and probably saved a little money in the long run. But if you're traveling, or you live that certain lifestyle to where you don't want to take care of a pen, maintain a pen, you just want it to go through the tank or the tincture or the syringe, then this pen does definitely become convenient. In terms of stealthy, it's not stealthy in the sense of hiding the pen or the cartridge, but it is stealthy in the sense that it looks similar to a lot of e-liquid units, and it can be disguisable. It is relatively small. I mean, it's basically about 4.5, maybe 5 inches in length. You can easily fit it into your pocket. Each one comes with a plastic tube, and we did do a full review on this oil disposable pen. It's actually very easy to use. You just unscrew the top to fill it, and we do have a step-by-step on there, and there's no buttons to push, no locking mechanisms, you just inhale. In terms of battery life, this battery is good to run through the tank. I tell people you should only really rely on it to run through the tank once. Even if the battery is not completely dead, you don't want to get caught refilling the tank and then having to try to siphon or salvage oil out of a disposable pen, because then you do have wastage and it is expensive. So these, they generally say, are good for 200 puffs or 1 tank, which if you look at the number of puffs on a 1/2 mil, which is the capacity of this tank, it's between 150 and 200 puffs. So that's what the battery life is. Mobility, this thing is very mobile, very convenient for traveling, running around. It's small, it is extremely lightweight. You could have it on a lanyard and not even feel that it's here. In terms of power, this unit doesn't have a high output. This is more focused on smoothness and flavor. It is auto draw, and in general, and again I say this is in general, push button units tend to hit harder than auto draw units simply because you're not using the power of your actual draw to activate the unit. So this is a very flavor focused unit. It has a ceramic heating core, and it is not super intense. It is more of a very smooth, rolling and flavorful hits. So that's where our disposable oil pen ranks when really selecting your perfect oil pen. It is convenience oriented, it is lightweight, mobile, flavorful, but isn't going to deliver those hard hits. It's not rechargeable, and it will not work with 510 thread cartridges. So let's move right along to one step up. Now this is not a unit that we have on our website. However, a lot of you guys have seen these. These are the Stylus standard disposable units. This one we make exclusively for one of our distributors. It's called the HoneyStick Bee Buzzin'. It is a Stylus battery that comes with a high quality classic plastic wick cartridge. What's cool about this Stylus pen is it's basically the next step up from just a plain disposable. A lot of people do view these pens as disposable even though it is rechargeable. In terms of availability, this, no matter what type of oils you have available, whether it's pre-filled cartridges or whether it's tinctures or syringes, you can, if you buy this kit, you're able to use it because it does have a 510 thread battery that cartridges can screw onto. However, these auto draw batteries are not the modernized auto draws like in the Elf. So if your cartridge is a high capacity ceramic cartridge or a really wide cartridge, battery could be a little underpowered. In terms of budget price, these pens retail for about $20 to $25. They're simple, easy to use. So it is a very budget kit. It's a very budget starter kit. It is auto draw, you know, and with this carry case on our next level, it is pretty stealthy because you can just have in this little wallet case, slip it into your pocket, and you're not gonna hear or say anything about it. But once you have the actual cartridge and the battery screwed on, you know, that stealthiness kind of does go away. Now this cartridge is very similar to the cartridge that we have stock in our Beekeeper unit, and we have a detailed video on how to fill this unit, up, and it is actually very easy to fill up and to function. There's no buttons, there's no clicking, there's no unlocking. You just simply fill up the cartridge, screw it onto the battery, and you're ready to vape. It is an auto draw, so it's very easy to use. Battery life. Battery life for a rechargeable unit, it probably does fall on the lowest end of the spectrum of our comparison. It is basically about the same battery life, if not less, than our disposable unit. So this thing, you are going to need to charge it more if you're on the go. When it is charged up, it's definitely going to give you some good hits. You're going to run good with it, but it is it is really the entry-level unit of if you're just getting into vaping, don't know if vaping's for you, you want to pick up a nice cost-effective kit that is going to be easy for you to get started with just to see if you like vaping, but it's not, you know, going to be your daily driver or your long hauler. Mobility with the carrying case and even without, it's very lightweight. It is a mobile unit, so you're going to be able to run around with it. You know, it's very small, compact. It is a little bit taller than our previous unit by about an inch with the cartridge on there. And power. This is an auto draw unit, and it does have a more basic cartridge which has a wick. So in terms of power, they're not going to be that powerful when you draw. You're not going to get monster clouds because first of all, it's not push button. Second of all, it's because it's more of a traditional cartridge. However, it is very reliable of a unit. Now in terms of flavor, again, these kits, we're not knocking them at all. We do make them. They're very entry level. In terms of flavor, I don't think that you will get blown away. You would have to switch it out to a different cartridge. If you have very high quality extracts, then I would probably consider upgrading the cartridge or stepping into a different level of a kit. But very basic, very good way to get started. Very easy to use, lightweight starter kit on that end. All right, next up, our upgrade from our disposable pen. We have our Gold Line vape battery, okay, which is a push button, variable temperature battery. We did a very thorough review of this, and it is actually paired up with our cloud tank here. What's cool about this battery is it's 510 thread. It works with all 510 thread batteries. And also, if you purchase this cartridge, you can definitely take advantage of tinctures and syringes. So in terms of what's available in your state, if you buy one of these, you're basically covered on all your ends. In terms of budget, this tank goes for, I think, $12 on our website, and the battery is $20. So it's actually, you're under $35 for this starter kit the way that it is. And for that price, you are getting a lot of bang for the buck because you are getting a very good battery. It has 3 different temperatures. It has preheat mode, you know, also chargeable. Very good. We did a full detailed review of this pen if you want to see the features and specs. It is actually very easy to use. However, because it's push button, it adds, you know, one level over the auto draw units that we just discussed here. So you would definitely have to have some very basic vape knowledge, but again, this knowledge is very basic, nothing to get freaked out about. Battery life. This unit has a high capacity battery. It has a 650 mAh battery, so it is actually a very high capacity battery for a little vaporizer, which is actually more than twice the capacity of this. So if you're looking for something more on the go and something that is definitely going to need less charges, this is a better unit option for that. In terms of mobility, it is a little bit long, but it's still relatively light, can still fit into your pocket, still very transportable, light enough to hold on a lanyard, but it is a little bit long in terms of mobility. In terms of power, it has 3 intensity settings, so you can hone in on what power you feel comfortable with. So if you're not sure what you're gonna like, it's definitely a good idea to have something that has variable temperatures. And on the most intense setting, a lot of our customers even have commented on the YouTube channels of this pen that it hits really solid. So for a small pen, it definitely delivers the power. If you pair this with not somebody else's pre-filled tank, but you're filling your own, you pair it with our cloud tank with a ceramic heater, you're definitely gonna get good flavor. So I really think that where does this pen rank in terms of an oil pen? I think if you're looking for a beginner pen on a budget, you cannot go wrong with this pen, and it is definitely a solid choice and the first step to get into the big leagues. Now let's move on to our most popular vaporizer that's being sold as the HoneyStick Beekeeper. It is a concealer. So It is, it's also been ranked by a lot of people as one of the best oil pens, and the cartridge it comes with is a thick oil similar to the disposable. Very basic because most people do utilize 510 threaded cartridges. It works on magnet adapter. We have a very detailed video about this this unit. So because it does come with a tank, you can use it for basically everything, from tinctures to syringes, and also 510 thread tanks that you could screw the magnet adapter on. So no matter what your state has going on, if you pick up a beekeeper, more than likely you're going to be able to take advantage of that. It's a pretty cost-effective unit. It's selling on our website for $39.99, so it really isn't a big high-dollar unit, and it delivers a lot. Stealthiness, the concealer unit, because it keeps the cartridge concealed, it is actually very small, as you can see here. It definitely ranks very high on the stealth factor. Nobody really knows what's going on. On top of it all, it's a matte black looking like a stealth bomber. I think it ranks very high in that level. Ease of use, there's no variable temperatures. There's one small button, it's push button, 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off, push and hold while you inhale. Super easy to use. You can see our detailed video on that. Battery life. This unit also has a high capacity battery, which is just about twice the capacity of these standard batteries. So you're definitely going to be able to take this on the go more and get more out of it. Mobility, I don't think you have a much more mobile unit to carry around. It'll fit into your little jean pocket, wherever, slide into a little bitty groove into the purse. It's not much bigger than a little thing of lipstick. So in terms of power, the Beekeeper definitely does deliver power. It doesn't have variable intensity settings, so if you don't like a larger volume inhale, you can't adjust it down really. So it has a good power spectrum that it delivers nice power. If you're looking for flavor, I really highly recommend you buy the high performance Beekeeper cartridge, which has a wickless ceramic heater in it, and it definitely brings out a lot more flavor notes and smoothens it out if you're filling your own cartridge. And if you put your magnet adapter on there, it just drops in. It even has a very cool stainless steel tip. All right, so now we're moving right along to our ELF unit. We just got done going over the Beekeeper. So the ELF has basically a lot of the same characteristics in the sense that it's a very small, actually a little bit smaller than the Beekeeper concealer that works well with that's a magnetic that works well with pre-filled cartridges, tinctures, as well as fills. A notable difference is the ELF already comes with a high performance, good tasting ceramic cartridge, so you're gonna get a little bit more performance out of the stock ELF cartridge that's glass than the stock Beekeeper cartridge that one comes with. However, a notable difference is they have the same battery capacity, but this one is actually easier to use because it is buttonless. So you don't have to unlock anything. It is an auto draw unit. Now, even though a lot of times auto draw units are less powerful, a lot of people have said the ELF is actually a very powerful auto draw unit because of the sensitivity of the sensor when you start drawing. So you're still gonna get good power, you're gonna get better flavor. The unit is actually very stealthy. It's a little bit easier to use if you're just getting started, you don't like pushing small buttons. A lot of people say their medical condition doesn't let them to push small buttons, so it's very easy to draw. The unit is very mobile, has good power, and because the high performance cartridge, you do get a little bit of extra flavor out of it. So this is also another good concealer. Now, if you looked at if you determined that, hey, I need a concealer based off of, the characteristics that we went through, our 8 important factors, but you want something that has a little bit more or has a little bit more battery power, your next step up is our Phantom unit, which our Phantom unit is basically a concealer. As you can see, it's very similar in size. It's a little bit bigger, but the reason it's a little bit bigger is it has 2.5 times the battery capacity of the ELF and the Phantom, so you're going to go a lot more between charges. It's also squeeze action, So you're not pushing any small buttons. However, where the key difference is that it has 4 different temperature settings, so you can really tune in on that power and flavor level that you want. It comes with a high performance cartridge, and what's cool is it also comes with, I don't have it here on the table, oh actually I do. It even comes with a wax adapter cartridge, so if the availability of pre-filled cartridges, oils that you can fill aren't there, but waxes are, you have the wax adapter as well. So it really allows you to be very, very versatile when you're using the Phantom. It's a very cool looking unit, feels very good, extremely stealthy because you can't see the cartridge, still small, but it does have more power, more capacity, and it has the 4 available temperature settings on here. Again, we have a couple very in-depth videos about this unit on the channel, so if you're going concealer, this is probably where you're going to be. However, it does cost more. It is our most expensive concealer that we have over here, which on our website I think it's about $129 on here, but really solid unit, just you can feel the quality. So if you're not sure if you want something like a stick, battery, or concealer, and you want something in between, and you're really trying to get the vaporizer into places that vaporizer shouldn't be, we have our Mini Max Pro, which is a switchblade action key fob battery, which does not come with a cartridge. The Elf, Phantom, and the Beekeeper all come with their cartridges. So if your state or your availability doesn't have 510 thread cartridges, you will need to buy a cartridge to pair this with in order to get it functioning. It is not that expensive of a unit. It retails on our website for $40. It is pretty easy to use. It does have 3 temperature settings, but it only has 1 button here that you push. So you would have to unlock it and relock it and cycle through the temperatures through here. What is cool about it is that it does have a pretty high capacity battery. It has a 650 milliamp hour battery. So it does actually have more capacity than the Elf and the Beekeepers. So it falls kind of right in between these 2 units in terms of battery life. The thing about it is though, is it is extremely stealthy because it's designed like a car key. It even fits on your key ring, so it's extremely mobile. So you can see the cartridge hides over here and you push the button and it flips open. So you keep it completely hidden. This is where the key would be. I mean, this thing is gonna fly under the radar basically wherever you have it, as long as you pair it with your wallet or have it on your keychain. Because of the 3 power levels that it has, you can wind up the intensity and you can get some really good power rips out of there. I know some people posted reviews on our in-depth video about this product, and they said that on the 3rd power level they were able to get some really good strong power. And depending on what cartridge you pair it with, if you have it paired with like a cloud tank, like our cloud tank on our website, that has a good smooth ceramic flow, you're also gonna get some really good flavor notes out of it. So this little unit, if your really stealthiness is super important to you, but you still want to have some good features in there, and keep a pen that's, you know, under a $50 pen, you're looking pretty good with the Mini Max Pro for your oil needs. So we just went over all these regular oil and cartridge devices. Now I want to take the next step to jump into a new level of vaporizer, which is our sub-ohm. I have a video that really goes into sub-ohm and oil vaping, and I really truly do believe it is a future trend. A lot of customers do ask me, hey, what if I just buy the most expensive pen? Is it the best pen or not? Well, the short answer is generally the most expensive pens are better and more performance, but it still might not fit your personal 8 characteristics that we went through as good as some of the other pens. But the sub-ohms are our favorite. They're one of our fastest growing areas, and HoneyStick is really one of the best innovators in this area. So let's start off. If you like the concealer but you want a sub-ohm, we have our old unit, the Ripper, which we actually have the new one. Here's the shell of it. I don't have a finished unit because they are going to be delivered this week, so just a couple more days, guys. I know a lot of people put in their pre-orders, and the new version is actually going to look just like this. really cool shell, and it's going to be a 2-in-1. It's actually going to have a wax adapter as well. But the Ripper is your sub-ohm concealer. So now just really quickly, what a sub-ohm unit does is it just brings really low resistance, really high power and intensity, and what I would say is much greater flavor notes to oils. And I put up a video about sub-ohm oil vaping, and we've reviewed a lot of our sub-ohm devices. Now the Ripper is your sub-ohm concealer. It does not work with 510 thread cartridges. So if you only have 510 thread cartridges in your state, this is probably not a vaporizer that you're gonna pick up, because you either need tinctures or syringes. But it is actually disguised to look as a lighter. You flip it open, you have your button. It has a telescopic mouthpiece that comes out here, and we will have a full review of our Ripper when it's in stock. It only has one temperature setting, which is intense. However, this unit is extremely stealthy. A lot of people have confused it as a lighter. It's very easy to use because it doesn't have any digital settings. It's not variable temperature. It's just a 5-click lock, and because the lock is covered, you don't even really have to keep it locked. The cartridges just pop in and out, which you do have to fill because they are sub-ohm. They just pop in and the top screws on. It's a very simple, extremely durable mechanism. It does have an ultra high capacity battery, which actually has about 20% more capacity than even our Phantom. So very high capacity battery. It's extremely mobile, extremely durable, very tough unit. And on the power scale, it is off the charts in terms of intensity. You can YouTube some videos of people using this device. In terms of flavor, I feel it has better flavor than most cartridges. However, when we get down into our digital mods and tanks, you can really fine-tune the flavor. So I think in the sub-ohm category, it has better flavor than a lot of the standard units. However, because of all the power and because you can't really fine-tune it in, it's definitely higher on the power and intensity spectrum than it is on the flavor spectrum for sub-ohm. So that's our Ripper. Check out the full review on that one. So moving into the sub-ohms, we really have two units that a lot of people often compare and contrast. We have our Cannabis Cup winning sub-ohm original kit, which a lot of people on the YouTube channel refer to as the OG Cannabis Cup kit. Really like that name, possible name change there. And our newest sub-ohm sport kit. Now both of them have very high capacity batteries. Both of them have really awesome tanks. Both of them are, in terms of budget wise, they're definitely on the higher end of the spectrum. They're both under $200. The sub-ohm sport is $169, and the sub-ohm original kit is right around that $200 mark. So these aren't your regular budget kits, these are your luxury kits, but they definitely perform. Now, in terms of availability, of what you have available, if you have 510 thread cartridges available, you're not going to be able to unscrew this tank and use a 510 thread cartridge on this battery without an ego adapter. On our sub-ohm OG kit, you do have an ego adapter that you unscrew right here. You just flip this over, put it back onto your battery, and you're able to use 510 thread cartridges. You can fill these with syringes or tinctures. I would probably not consider these as stealthy as versatile, even though they do fit into the pocket. They are heavier. I mean, that's good in terms of a quality standpoint, but they do have a little bit of heft. So in terms of mobility and stealthiness, you don't really get away with that. The sub-ohm sport is slightly stealthier than the OG kit because it has a window covering around the glass, so you don't really see what's in there. It also offers a little bit more protection. Now, the battery life of these things are both ultra high capacity. They're way over the 1500 mAh as well, so you're gonna get a lot of capacity out of these. You charge these things up, a lot of people go days without getting a charge, without having to recharge it, even our very heavy daily users. Both these units you can dial up the power big time. This one goes up to 36 watts, which is more than what you will need. This one actually goes all the way up to 60 watts, which is definitely way more than you're ever really going to need, which can just really, you know, melt the whole power spectrum in terms of hits. Now, in terms of flavor, they're going to be a little bit different. You can use a blender option on here, which uses a solid block ceramic heater, and then this one uses a ceramic and Kenthal heater in here, which has different bottom draw and orifice holes. A lot of people say that this kit is really easy to get started with, but basically you start off with this kit and then you graduate into kind of this tank with the taste delivery and the power, and how you're actually able to use as a blender and put solid concentrates into there. So power, these kits are both way up in the spectrum. Flavor, I would say they're both up there in the very high rankings of flavor. But once you really want to fine tune your experience, there's nothing really like the OG Cannabis Cup kit. That's what the judges in SoCal thought. And really that's what a lot of our audience thinks, but these kits are really closely matched. Now, the only other thing that I can say to add to these that's going to decrease your mobility but increase the power and flavor you're going to be able to have on tap is adding our Bumblebee Bubbler. We did a full review and demo on this with Honey Girl on another one of our videos. Is you can pair it with our sub-ohm devices, and it can, because you'll run it through water, you can really crank up the power and really smooth out even more flavor to take your vaping experiences to all new levels. However, what's this going to do to your oil pen? Definitely going to increase, it's going to, decrease your mobility. It's definitely going to decrease any stealthiness that you had. It's going to increase the power. I would say it will definitely increase the flavor notes as well. It's going to tack on another about 20 to 30 bucks to your budget because you're watching this video, so you're going to wait for the discount code at the end. And it's also, what's cool about those availability wise, you can actually pair this thing with 510 thread cartridges to still put them on. So this is still compatible with 510 thread cartridges. So that's the bubbler. Lastly, the only other way that you can improve your oil vaping experience is by having a battery like our speed battery that has a lot of features, but you have to be really an expert vape level to really use this battery. You can set the watts in just fine, but there's features and temperature controls and how you want your power to come on that you're not going to get in standard batteries. It really takes a step above even these two batteries, and it has twice the capacity and power availability of both these batteries. So, you can also get one of these batteries to pair with your oil tanks. However, this battery is too powerful for a lot of little oil tanks, so it's not going to be fully compatible there. All right, so just to summarize, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that walking through our oil devices and showing you guys how we rank them in terms of what's available to you, your budget, your stealthiness, your ease of use, battery life, mobility, power, and flavor. Hopefully those features and us walking through our devices will help you with your buying decision of picking your best HoneyStick oil pen. Make sure to stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, comment with us below. Follow us on Instagram at official Vape HoneyStick and also Vape HoneyStick. Make sure to drop your comments in. Email me. Thanks for tuning in. Use special promo code HONEY420 for 20% off these oil pens and several other great devices. Thanks for tuning in. Stay lifted.